Today I ran a 5K in a snowstorm. When I had heard about Storm Elliott passing through, I would be lying if I didn't say I got a little bit excited.
But a monster winter storm.
Now that life-threatening winter storm.
A major winter storm with a bitterly cold Arctic blast.
A million Americans bracing for that massive pre-Christmas storm, depending on where you are. Just the messengers here. You could get hit with anything. Listen to this, from blizzard conditions to heavy rains along with dangerous winds. And then following that, the deep freeze.
I currently have a running streak of 388 days, and I wasn't about to let this storm end my streak. And when I heard that it was going to be freezing and high winds and ice and snow, I got a little bit excited because it's kind of like a challenge. That is when I stumbled across an article that discusses how dangerous it can be to run in cold weather. And apparently around -4 degrees, that's when your respiratory system can really take a toll from the cold weather in the air. Something about the content of the air containing less water. I think the article stated that at -4 degrees, there's 99% less water content in the air than when it is 32 degrees. So this is something I definitely wouldn't recommend for anyone else to even attempt. However, I still felt prepared. I mean, I've been running for the last year. I run outside every single day. I have plenty of clothing. I have multiple face coverings, and my wife even agreed to follow me as I ran in the car. So I was comfortable with this risk. I felt like I knew what I was getting into, and I was just ready to get out and run and experience this frigid cold weather for myself. So I headed out into the storm with all of these clothes on. This is me before I attempt to run a 5K in a snowstorm. And honestly, it wasn't that cold. The only thing I was really worried about were my hands. I have 2 sets of gloves on, a light pair and then a heavier pair. And I've had my hands get cold in those 2 sets of gloves in warmer weather than this. So I was a little bit worried about that. And then the other thing was just the rest of my face that wasn't covered. I didn't really know what to expect. The first little adversity that I noticed was my feet were very cold. Not really my feet, but specifically my toes, and I was able to kind of keep them warm by like wiggling them as I was running, and this seemed to help a lot. It was about the mile marker where I noticed my toes were extremely cold, and it wasn't anything that I hadn't experienced before. I felt my toes or like the ends of my fingers feel like that cold before. Not something you would want to experience for a long period of time. But I did think if I couldn't warm them up that I may need to cut my run a little bit short. I just wanted to play everything super safe. At about 2 miles into my run, however, I did start to think a little bit about that article I had read that talked about the respiratory system and what the cold weather can do to that. And I thought that I did a good job of keeping my nose and face completely covered. But watching some of the clips back, I did notice that my nose was uncovered for at least a little bit of the run. I thought that I did a really good job of covering it, but apparently I didn't do as good of a job as I thought. And I could notice like a little bit of discomfort around 2 miles in, just under 2 miles. And I thought about cutting my run short. I wanted to get in a 5K distance. I was like at 1.9 miles. But I decided to keep going on. I still had my wife with me, and I could just jump in her car if I really thought something was wrong. I do think if I stayed out for longer, 5 or 6 miles, then it could have been a lot worse in my chest. Like I think I would feel a lot worse right now, more like almost like a pneumonia or some sort of like sickness in my chest. I don't think it's serious at all, but I guess we'll see if I have long-term lung damage or not. That is what it is like running in a snowstorm. We did it! It was really slow, but we did it. I wouldn't recommend you doing this as it can be dangerous. So we'll see if I have long-term lung damage, but for now, I plan on running tomorrow, probably on the treadmill. I've extended my streak to 389 days. And I was able to run through Snowstorm Elliott. So if you like this video, if you want to help me continue running every single day, I'm trying to get to 2 years right now, and I would love your support. Liking this video, subscribing really does help motivate me and keep me going. So I'd love if you liked, if you subscribed, if you commented. And then if you want to check out my Discord channel, we have a group over there. It's a small community, but we kind of just are a fitness community. We help each other achieve our fitness goals. We help each other on our fitness journeys or goals or whatever you want to call it. It's just a community to motivate and help one another and discuss all things fitness with. And I would love to see you there.